We're going to go ahead and roll right away.
Awesome.
So,
I'm ready.
got it.
I'm ready.
Got it.
We're live.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Green Room. This morning, we actually have another segment on Ukraine. And
Listen, I want to speak to that because, listen, it is the green room. We know we're
happy St. Patrick's Day for
you
those
know what?
who
No,
are
that's what
Irish.
prompted my thought. So green means a lot of things. Of course, the green room in general, we're our, cannabis, based medical practice. And, a lot of our shows are based on that. You know what, though? We're in an era and days right now where it's really about the pursuit of life, liberty, and life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, and that's what it's all about. It is you see the daily images and
Yeah, when
hey,
there is no
listen,
life in pursuit of happiness.
and there's
that's
not.
it.
And
Yeah,
I'm driving to
there is
work
not.
today under the same sun,
Yeah.
okay, that comes up over Ukraine every day.
Yeah.
And my concern is getting through the roundabout.
I know.
Okay.
We have it easy.
So
we
all
idea.
saw President, Zelensky yesterday with just an unbelievable presentation.
It's funny.
So we're going to get back to cannabis, everybody. We will. But at this particular point in time, this is such an important emphasis on community, right? And that pursuit, once again, of liberty and happiness that we all deserve.
That we all
and
deserve.
we're going to do what we can from afar.
Yeah.
So
what we're doing this weekend, we'll get into a lot of things that happened over this last week, but we're doing a big fundraiser on Saturday morning here at our clinic. It's going to be at 425 Commercial Court in Suite C.
How did we not get 420 somehow?
I know.
That would have been the greatest address ever.
But
I don't think it was available.
Probably not. But anyways, it's going to be from 10 a.m. till 2 p.m. There's a list that I emailed out. It's going to be on our website, on my personal Facebook page, and for everyone that's following. Medical supplies are still in the biggest demand. Sarasota Discount Pharmacy donated a lot of medications, especially antibiotics. We're still in need. And I know that
cash can be translated into medical supplies, Ruta?
Yes. So what we're doing is, if we're receiving any cash at all, what we're doing is we're buying medical supplies that we can here, like the blood clotting, suturing kits, things like that. Outside of that, there's going to be a sign that we have outside our door, and it says, "We stand with Ukraine." There's an actual physical barcode on it. If people scan that barcode, they can donate directly to Doctors Without Borders, and it's going to the Doctors Without Borders in Ukraine specifically. I have gotten word from Meast, who is the company that we're shipping all our products that we receive. All the donations that we receive go to New Jersey.
Those big container ships, MEASK.
And
right.
They're a Ukrainian-owned shipping company. They actually yesterday posted on their website, and they sent me a quick email. Everything that they have shipped has been received into the Ukraine. So what they're doing is they're going in through a separate port out that's not in Odessa, but they're actually getting someone's meeting their ship with trucks, and they're actually going to leave. So when they go to leave, they're dispensing it, and there's hospital setups there that are dispersing the medicines to the Ukrainian army. So we have gotten word, because I actually did get a lot of phone calls yesterday from personal friends of mine asking, Ruta, we want to donate like night goggles, vision goggles. Somebody wants to donate them thermal drones.
Wow.
If you want to go ahead and do that, you can, and we'll get it there. And I promise you, according to the shipping company, they have been received in the Ukraine. So for those who have listened, like I said,
I know you have the connections. Listen, if we can get a thermal drone somehow delivered to Ukraine through the green room somehow.
I know,
I'm teasing, but I'm not.
But it's not. And a shout out to those people who asked about that. And really, they do want to donate.
It is the technology that is so interesting that if we can provide Ukraine with that technology, I was so struck yesterday by the plea of President Zelensky. Let's just call it like it is. I mean, heroes are made in real time.
And he is a hero. He's a hero to his country. He's a hero to democracy. And talk about who's leading the country, the world. I think it's him. Honestly, the man is not a paid off politician. He's not a career politician. He came from a simple background. He's used to the stage, and given the stage he has now, the man has performed to the top game that no
Yeah.
one else could perform to.
Oh,
And,
yeah.
and he's dedicated to his country. And somebody said yesterday, I was talking to a Ukrainian, and they said, they're like, wow, Zelensky, like, he's so amazing. And they're like, he's Ukrainian, and they're like, he's defending his country. And you know, you sit back and you look at him almost as a pop star now, just because of, you know, the media press, but the man is truly on boots on the ground. And the fact that he didn't run as a leader, how many other presidents would sit there in the trenches with his people? It doesn't happen anymore. There used to be like an honor to fighting. And
Listen,
and it's gone, and-
American exceptionalism, okay, is now being demonstrated with Ukrainian exceptionalism. And we need to
Absolutely.
match that exceptionalism
We do back
with
here
our
again,
exceptionalism.
because our exceptionalism has gone out the door,
And-
and we need to bring it back. And even the insurrectionists yesterday, one of them was crying, the one that, you know, hit the Capitol. And my comment back on the CNN was, I said, I made a large comment actually, and I said, all those insurrectionists should actually be booted up, sent to Ukraine, and find out what it really feels like to fight for your country and fight for democracy. Let them feel it, because obviously they haven't felt it in this country. So
you're talking about January 6th?
Yes, the
Insurrectionists.
insurrectionists.
No,
Telling you, I
no,
think
that's
that's where
another
they
thing.
should
I don't
go.
want to get off Ukraine
No.
much, but my point about what's going on right now in our country and why we're doing what we're doing so vigorously right now with that focus of community, right?
It is.
And we're going to work within your community, Ruta,
Mhm.
and my cannabis community. Everybody that's watching, count on getting a text from me with that barcode, okay? Because to me, I know that people want, or, you know, email or however I'm going to get out to you, because that's going to be my mission in the next couple of days. Because this is something that's tangible. You can swipe that barcode, donate to a cause that you know is appropriate, right? And make your feelings known about what's important. Here's my point. Every day I get to see patients, right? You get to administer a clinic that you believe in. We're doing good for people. So we're focused now on what we can do to make our world better. Think about the prosecutor in New York City that's still focusing on Trump enterprises, okay?
Yeah.
Think about our congressional committee who's still focusing on the January 6th insurrection, because that's all they can do to make their personal life better, because they're going to work harder. In America, we do what we can and we work harder. And that's why we're going to focus not only on the Ukrainian effort, but also on our personal focus, because it allows us to go forward. That's the pursuit of happiness. And listen, these are war crimes. I was struck yesterday by the you know, shuck and jive, ropa-dopa in the talking about whether Putin is committing war crimes. Listen, he's obviously committing war crimes every day. And to the extent of how it goes down in the pecking order of the generals, right? It'll be interesting to see if anything ever happens.
No, it won't. No.
I got it.
Because unless those people step outside, there's no jurisdiction.
I
of the
understand.
Hague. So they're going to go unpunished. But the thing
But
is,
these are war crimes. I mean, you
they are war
can't, I mean,
crimes.
these
there's
are bombing
targeting
citizen
hospitals, maternity,
civilian sites.
There's nothing but civilians being destroyed. And the thing is, the sense of community it's on a larger scope. Some people, some people on Facebook are very like, yeah, we want to make sure everybody sees everything. Is everybody says, why are you so concerned with Ukraine? Okay, I have a personal interest, obviously, because my parents ran from Lithuania and were a stone's throw away from Putin's next target. And my great-great-grandmother was actually Ukrainian. So I do have Ukrainian in me. But the thing is, regardless of that, it's humanity. So, you have to fight for and defend for humanity. And people are like, well, why isn't this outcry? Why wasn't it as serious for, whether it's Palestine or Syria or Afghanistan or Iraq, somewhere? It is an outcry, and it's a sense of community that we are one world in one unit. And so for us, like, I think the sense of community that we're seeing in the outpouring, I got so many phone calls from people just calling me up and saying, what do you need? Do you want me to come to you? Do you want to come to me? And like, honestly, I met people that I've never met before, from somebody who referred somebody to go pick up items. Can I tell you the joy that between the two of us as an exchange exchange of doing something good. We didn't know each other. We just hugged each other and I'm like, thank you. And they're like, thank you. And we're like, oh my God, if we can only all do this, like what a difference it would make.
It's a sense of community I
It's a
last saw.
huge
This
sense
it's a sense of
like since
community that I
9/11.
last since
Since
9/11.
9/11, I have not seen
Since
such a,
9/11.
no, and such a bipartisan.
Oh, well, and it has to
unity.
be, it
has
should
to
be.
and it should be.
It's
where
interesting. I think that
democracy is
everybody
supposed to
even
be.
may want more. No fly zone, of course,
Yeah.
is trending. If you look at the Wall Street Journal this morning, the top,
Close
two
the skies.
editorials are just based on the fact that, listen, if we're going to win a war, let's win this war. Okay. And
God,
there are
no.
wars that there are wars that need to be won. And I look at every single veteran that I see, Ruta, and I thank them for their service. Okay.
I do, but you know what? One of the things that's interesting, and I'm glad you brought this up, when you talk to a lot of the Iraqi veterans, they said we fought without a purpose because they weren't defending
Now,
America.
And
They
we've been
just
together long enough that you're reading my mind now or something like
So,
that.
Second wife in the office here, Patty at home.
Because
here.
that's exactly
Like,
where I was.
okay.
That's exactly where I was going with this. There are wars and there are wars. There are conflicts and there are threats to your existence.
Yes.
Okay, threats to our society, our way of life, our beliefs. Once again, life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness, right? And to the best that we can get it. Listen. Very important conversation, and I apologize for cutting you off, but that was funny because that's exactly where I was going for it.
It is.
And these soldiers in Ukraine, listen, they're fighting for their life, for their country, for their women, for their children, for their mothers, for their grandmothers. The Russian soldiers crossing over, they have no idea, quite frankly, as best we can tell, what they're fighting for. And you can tell because a lot of them are cutting and running. I was struck. Listen, I want to go back to the drones. The technology of today absolutely positively allows for us to supply firepower in the air and not risk one American soldier's life. That's 2022. That's technology. And when I saw the small drone that can be fired from arm and you go right into the car and pick off, hang on, the driver, not the passenger, not the driver.
And took the driver out too.
It would.
No, and thank God it did.
But the bigger weapons that are tank killers. But I was struck by the numbers that somehow, and they can follow this stuff from satellites these days and everything, about 700 Russian tanks and other, weapon systems, including missile fires and all that destroyed, but 700 left behind.
Okay, and
untouched. Hang on.
Can I tell you though, one quick shout out to the guys who own the tractors? Everybody should invest in John Deere right now. Man,
are they hauling them off?
They're hauling the tanks off on a daily basis.
Is that right?
The Ukrainian farmers are all hooking up the tanks and they're hauling them out.
Oh
my God, it's awesome. Those farmers are killing it.
No, it is. and listen, in a 3-week period of time to start to produce the tank, crosses and all the, it's just hard to believe and imagine. And once again, just going back to conversation, because listen, we had a great green room. Everybody can find it on YouTube on Tuesday with Alan, who was in Poland, right, Alan Mistel, right across the border. And it was a great green room just describing what's going on there. But the immediacy of it, the shell-shocked nature of the evacuees and all that. But the people that remain, what they've gone through in 3 to 4 weeks to gear up in Kyiv, especially for what is to come.
Yesterday, I don't know if you saw this. It was on CNN last night, and it was I don't remember. It's at 7:00. I don't remember the name of the anchor, but she was in tears talking.
Brooke Baldwin.
No. It was.
Was it somebody else?
Yeah. Anyway, she was interviewing a Ukrainian man who found out his wife and children were hit by a bomb and killed on Twitter. So he was on his phone and he said they had like a Google tracker and they were tracking them. And he said, all of a sudden I saw like it went blank. And he goes, so I was reaching out to my neighbors and my friends. And he goes, all of a sudden I go to Twitter and he goes, I recognize my children's clothing.
Wow.
And he goes, and his heart, he goes, it sank to the ground and he lost his wife and his 2 children. And so like, this is the personal stories. It's like, we can talk about what we do, but to imagine seeing a loved one, your spouse and your children laying on the ground through via Twitter, and finding out that they didn't make it when they were trying to escape. And the reason why they didn't is she was trying to take care of her mother, who was elderly. So she was kind of delaying her evacuation. So finally they said, you have to go, you have to go. So she finally took her children, and that's when the bomb exploded, and it was shot right at them. And this is the war crimes of Putin. One of the other things that they did is, if you see like via the air yesterday in the children's hospital above Mariupol, where they actually had the theater, they actually wrote in Russian letters and huge letters, children, to make sure it was protected. And what did they do? They dropped air bombs on it. So these are the outrageous things. I want to get to quickly. I did have this weekend. We're going to play just a small clip, and I'm going to put it on my Facebook. I apologize for the background noise. We were at a banquet this weekend, a VIP reception. I got to speak one-on-one with the Lithuanian ambassador to the United States. She was on the United Nations. Now she's strictly the United States delegate and ambassador. And she's also the president worldwide of UNICEF. And I got to speak with her one-on-one. We spoke about 20 minutes. Unfortunately, we did it impromptu. And so there's a lot of noise in the background because there was a get together and people were talking and laughing, and you'll hear that in the background. But we're gonna play a small clip. It's a couple minutes. I apologize for the background noise, but I just want to let you hear from a Lithuanian ambassador who, represents the country of Lithuania and represents it to the United States. She also works obviously very closely with her counterpart, the Ukrainian ambassador. So I just want you to hear a small clip of our conversation. And this is Ambassador Audra Plepita from Lithuania. It's so hard to hear.
He said attack on one is attack on all. But even before the aggression, okay, nobody, very few happened. No, the moment it happens, it will have sanctions, and that happens. Now, when everybody said, the moment if somebody, a Russian attacks a NATO country, any NATO country, any ancient NATO country, that would be responsible. So that this is one of the things that we signal that this would be, and the commitments of the Article 5 is that, so, and even after this aggression, since the beginning of the war, the NATO countries, including the United States, increasing presence in the eastern flank. I know that the eastern flank, they have increased. So as Lithuanians, because you're speaking on behalf of the Lithuanians there, are they frightened? I assume they must be, because you're so close to the border, you're so close to this person like Putin who really wants to just keep going, I think. So are the Lithuanian people, how are the Lithuanian people dealing with this? Are they frightened? Are they okay? Obviously, I assume they're concerned. Definitely it's not okay. That's why we, and I would say it's the concern about that, because they see what this, I mean, but we always knew that Russians are but what I would stress, the solidarity and the unity with the world, this in Ukraine as well. They know that they're fighting also for us. I mean, they're fighting for the cause that we fight for our values and principles as well. So that's why I remember in Ukraine, like so much united years ago when we create our independence. No, every person doesn't think about themselves. They think how I can help to donate something to help these refugees, supplies, or whatever possible. For instance, I can just
So
Same.
the
How
same,
can we do to help?
the ambassador's message was everybody's unified in this effort, even though NATO right now, and Ukraine's not considered NATO, but behind the scenes,
Lithuania
is part of
in
NATO. We are in NATO.
So how did that come about, Ruta? That
a lot of political maneuvering.
Right. How long ago?
not that long ago. We're actually one of the last countries to be accepted into NATO,
Right.
and it took
So the Eastern Bloc fell.
the Eastern
then
Bloc
certain
fell, and
countries got
certain
in, and-
countries did.
right.
In Lithuania, Estonia, and Latvia, the Baltics were among the last countries to get accepted, but we went as a unit into NATO. And the only reason I think they accepted us was because we're such an important area, also because we're on the Baltic Sea. So we basically cover the Baltics, and then from there,
money, power, shipping.
yeah, exactly.
Minerals.
All of that. And also the other thing is the countries that aren't part of NATO also are some of the Scandinavian countries, but the sea is what separates us from, say, Finland and Sweden and Norway. And so strategically, I think it was great positioning. And also the fact that Lithuania, Estonia, and Latvia truly were democracies. And I think at the time of the formation of NATO countries, Ukraine was still politically almost a little bit more sided with Russia at the time. And so I think the fear of NATO was, if we allow Ukraine in, they're still friendly with Russia, they could still, mess us up a little bit. So I think that's why
Pre-Zelensky days.
Yes,
of
you're
course,
talking
obvious.
Yeltsin days, so
sure.
like these are like after
Right.
Perestroika days.
So they still had their puppet, so
Yeah,
to
they
speak.
still have
running
their
the
puppet.
Yeah, I
So
got it.
now when Ukraine truly has become, a democratic nation against, the Putin tyranny and the tyranny of the quote unquote USSR, it's become very different. And I think the other thing is, when I was talking to her, one, there's a unity of all of Europe behind this. The people are always different than some of the governments. The government's hands are tied for political reasons. But what she was saying was Putin's ultimate goal is he wants to go down in history as Putin the Great. And for Putin, he wants to create not the former USSR, but SSR. So he wants to create the Slavic Union. So he wants Ukraine, Russia, Belarus, Moldova, he already has pretty much Georgia and Chechnya. So he wants all the Slavic countries to form this new SSR. And she said, the problem is the people themselves don't want it. But she said, again, as well as all of us know, in Russia, the people really can't rise and go against him. They cannot. So one of the things that she said, though, is she said, the humanitarian efforts from regular people doing fundraising, Lithuanians, a small country of 3 million people, in 3 days raised $20 million from individual donors to send for humanitarian aid. So for us—
Are they getting refugees as well?
They are. And so kudos, I have to give a shout out to all—
Getting all my questions in that I wanted to ask you. Right.
All the surrounding countries, I have to say, like from Romania, Poland is doing an outstanding job. In Lithuania, I personally know there's people who own hotels.
Oh, Patty wants to just grab some, a mother and child. And just bring them right into our home.
Yeah, we all do. I actually signed up for that already. There's a roster. So I did. I already am signed up. But Lithuania, their hotels are bringing them in. Lithuania yesterday, and I shared it on Facebook, Lithuania as a country said, if you have an unused home or apartment that you have as a summer place or place, please open it up and just let them in. So for anyone that has any houses in Europe that are unused and it's a vacation home, please open your doors. No, there's a lot of people who do. There's a ton of people who do.
So we have our wide audience.
Yeah, we do. So I'm talking, especially because I have some in Chicago, and I know they all have homes, and same in Boston. They all have homes in Lithuania or apartments. So please, if you have it, open those doors. For us this weekend, the Ukrainian embassy sent us a roster of immediate needs. Again, it's really medicinal is what's needed, but they also have a need for food to get to Ukraine. The problem is they're getting the food into certain cities, but like Mariupol, they cannot even get a convoy of food to those people because it's so destroyed and it's still so dangerous. So I know there's still a huge humanitarian valiant effort to get food to them. But if you can donate gauze, bandages, blood clot supplies, just go on Amazon and you can find a list.
Is the best food canned goods essentially?
Anything that, yes, canned goods, anything that.
Because I bought 3 cans of tuna the other day. It was light chunk instead of white.
Yeah, but just anything
No,
it's not funny for people who are
I
starving.
understand.
You know what I mean?
I don't
It's
mean to make a
not-
bad
yeah,
joke,
it's
but
a
the
bad
point
joke,
is I want to make sure what
but
goes.
yeah, but like tuna fish,
Yeah.
soup, anything
Right.
like that, because literally
Peanut butter,
they
boxed,
actually
yeah.
yesterday in Mariupol, they said people were actually fighting because they're already starving. So they said fights broke out in the basements because they're hungry. So
It's so incalculable in 2022
is
that this can happen.
It is, it really is. And so please, like this weekend, people say like, well, we have like high gas prices, we have everything. But if you can go get a cup of coffee, you can go get a can of tuna fish and donate it, please. Like it helps humanity. I don't think 1 cup of coffee at Dunkin' Donuts is going to hurt anybody going, to our clinic and dropping a box of pasta or something. We're trying to get canned goods because things that need to be boiled, they don't have water everywhere and they don't have electricity. So somebody donated to us like a battery supply, like a burner or something. That was awesome.
Wow.
So like things, I think they must have been thinking, they don't have power again. So anything you can donate, we ask. If you can't, you can drop it off in person. I can come pick it up. If not, give a monetary donation to UNICEF, to Doctors Without Borders, something that will help the people directly of Ukraine. I can't stress that enough. And Saturday, please come out. We're here 10 to 2. Doing the special drive. And again, it's a sense of unity. And when you give, like, I don't know, I'm of the belief in, if you give of yourself, if you give something honestly and open-heartedly, that will come back to you tenfold every single time. So if you're afraid of giving, don't, because trust me, it will come back some
Well, it
other
does
way
with
to
the
you.
immediacy, Ruta, as you said,
Yeah.
with the hug that you exchanged
Oh my
with somebody
God,
that you didn't know.
I didn't
and
know her. And
when
she-
Carly
it
and
was
I dropped off the
amazing.
supplies from last week, there were the early supplies. We felt, just there's a
good
feeling that you have about
feeling.
doing good. Listen, in the world
Yes.
today, it's so fast and so immediate.
It's
We
not
often
personal.
forget.
It's
It
impersonal.
is impersonal,
Especially
and we
with
forget
technology.
what really makes a difference.
A hug,
It's that personal giving, and this is a time when we need to do it. And,
It is.
we talk so much about politics and voting, and all those things are important too.
They
But
are,
when we
but in
really
the
come
scheme of
down
things,
to
it's
it, it's humanity. It's person to person.
All of it goes out the door. Honestly, when you see a mother and a child, getting bombed in the middle of a street, that's humanity. That has nothing, at that point, politics goes out the door and everybody's heart bleeds. And
we have 4 minutes. I mean, where
Yeah,
are we
we can-
going with this, Ruta? I mean,
Well,
over the next couple to 3 to 4 weeks,
it's going
because
to go one way or the other. But I think the Ukrainian people, they have such a strong drive and they're so brave and they're so wanting to defend their country and their land that they're willing to die for it.
That's a 100% certainty. See, when I look at
Yeah.
a situation like this, and this is my emergency doctor mind in me, if you remember, it's always about the ABCs: airway, breathing, circulation. I look at a situation like this and exactly the same thing. What are the 100%? The 100% is that the Ukrainians are going to fight. They're going to
Till
fight
death.
till the end.
Yeah, till death.
And we know that. What I also know, okay, is that Putin cannot continue to maintain his 100% lockdown on his people. You saw that brave journalist, not in 2022. You saw that brave producer that got out behind and
that was
held the
awesome that
sign.
she did that. Yeah, that was
Okay.
awesome. At least, people are taking a stand. And
They're starting to.
but-
And it's an effort that's going to have to come from within.
Yeah,
Money is going to have to play out with power in Russia, of course.
Well, the thing is, the oligarchs, truthfully, their money is so spread out, they're not going to be affected. It's the poor people and the general people of Russia that are going to be feeling the effects. Unfortunately, those oligarchs, they don't care. They're so powerful and they're so rich and they're so spread out around the planet that they have money in offshore accounts and Swiss accounts. They don't care. But the people of Russia, I have to say, like right now, though, I was listening to, that Russian woman who was actually the one that held the sign. She actually gave an interview yesterday on BBC after she was released, and she only got fined, which people were like, I think because of the media.
But hang on, I got to make one thing. Brittany Griner, on the other hand, we got to give a shout out, still in custody in
But that's
Russia.
different.
It is
But
different,
that's
Ruta.
different.
It
She
is
brought
different.
drugs into a country that's
I
no
understand,
drugs.
and I'm
That's
not going to
different.
compare it, but we
Yeah.
also have to, keep in
No,
mind.
we do, but I
everybody's
mean,
deal.
she
I got
didn't
it.
follow the
I
rules, and
apologize. I know.
you know what I mean. That's
I
an
agree.
illegal act. But
I
this
got
woman
it.
holding the sign,
Yeah.
she
Thank
was,
God she got out.
she did get out, and she was only fined. But she said herself that she hasn't spoken to her mom in over a week because her mom believes the Putin propaganda. And she
Right.
said, she herself said, as a journalist, she said, over 50% of my country believes Putin. She said over 50%. So she said, she goes, "It's
That
very
kind of sounds
like
familiar.
this country, like this
Right.
country." And unfortunately, we still
You
have,
haven't heard much about Joe Biden not being a legitimate president, though. Okay, sir, and I mean it.
no.
At least there's been the bipartisanship where they have pulled back, and there are still the Madison Cawthorns.
Well, we still
of the
have Fox
world
and Carl
and-
Tucker. Carl,
No,
Carlsons
that's
of the world
important.
and
And-
we have to bring this up one more time, please, because I know we have a lot of citizens that are listening here in Sarasota. There's a petition going around right now on Facebook. If you want to follow it, it's about Rumble. And Rumble is a facet of Breitbart. And what they are is they're a Russian arm of the propaganda machine that feeds Putin money to get his propaganda and his messaging out. There is a direct correlation from Sarasota County of $825,000, a grant given to Rumble. This is outrageous. This is our tax dollars. The blood of Ukrainians is on the hands of these commissioners that actually handed this organization $825,000. And it's a shame. And if anything, this county should be held liable for that. And if anything, they should be donating that money right now to Doctors Without Borders for Ukraine. And shame on the commissioners that allowed this, knowingly that this is Russian propaganda, and Rumble is associated with them as one of the biggest machines to pump it out. And shame on Christian Ziegler in particular. I'm naming him by name because you know your hands have blood on them, Christian. And trust me, this county is not going to take it. And the people of this county and all the Baltics and the Ukrainians and the Slavs, all of us, and every outraged citizen is going to come after this money because you took our money and it's blood money. And so shame
it's
on,
just a matter of
it's a
awareness.
shame.
People need to know about
and
it,
we're spreading word. We're going to go, we're going to ask the Ukrainians and everyone to come out for the next county commission meeting. And we're going to bring this up when they go live again. We are going, and we're going to go in numbers, and we're going to ask for answers. So when they see the Ukrainians whose families are being bombed right now, and to say you're sending our tax dollars against our own family members, it's a crime. It is a crime. And so,
listen, we need
awful.
to unite. I saw where
We do
Tucker
need to
Carlson
unite.
was mentioned as like one of
We
the,
do need to
Russian,
unite.
positives,
No,
of
it's
spreader of
horrible.
disinformation in this country. What's that all
and
about?
the unity, like I said, the unity has to be there. We have to take pride that we're going to try to defend a democracy. Shout out to President Biden, though. I know their hands are tied for closing the skies. I think Ukraine will close the skies themselves, long as they get the military might behind them. So if they get the military equipment, the drones, if they get, surface to air missiles,
It's technology.
it's technology.
Yeah,
if
it's
they get that,
technology.
Ukrainians are strong on the ground, they'll defend themselves. So shout out to Biden for almost $1 billion package yesterday with specific drones and with specific equipment being given. And Great Britain, England has stepped up, and a big shout out to the UK. UK has supplied the Ukrainians with incredible weaponry right now, and they're still shipping it. So some countries have stepped up. I'm glad, like Germany's finally coming around, and Zelensky spoke to the chancellor today.
And Biden's going to talk to Xi tomorrow, which is really important because I think if Xi and Biden, figure out what the hell is going on with this idiot Putin. And listen, I heard from one of our patients, Ruta, that rumor about the pancreatic cancer, from one of our patients that has Polish family.
Yeah, there's
and he says that in Poland, it's fairly well recognized. It's fairly well known.
There's a lot of rumors going around, and from some serious people. Like
haven't heard it on any of the mainstream media.
No, not on mainstream.
Right.
Well, the only other thing that when I was speaking to Ambassador Plepita, she
kind of love how you say that. I couldn't do it like in 5 tries. But
No,
right
but
on.
for her, she, she did say this also. She said, about, Putin and in any dictator, she said, we all wish him, a horrible death, but she said, we have to try to work within the systems that we have. And so, I think, what we are doing as human beings, like helping everybody, is great. I think we need to close the skies or supply them with military aid. And and again, just come out. I know we don't have time anymore, so please come out this Saturday, 10 to 2. We're open actually and accepting donations 9 to 5 every day at 425 Commercial Court in Venice. We've received lots and lots of donations, so please keep giving. Please stop by. No item is too small. If you think like, oh, I have a box of bandages or something at home, bring them. Really, people have called me. They're like, can we bring this? I'm like, yes, bring it, because right now it's
clean
important.
blankets,
Clean blankets, really
old
needed
winter
one.
coats from
Yes,
Ohio.
yes,
Everybody,
winter coats, because there it's
global warming down
freezing.
here.
But
when
there
people
it's in
need
the
them.
middle of winter
Right.
still. I mean,
So
for
that
them,
type of stuff.
they're freezing. Thermal blankets, anything
Everything.
like that. So thank you guys, for all the donations that have been pouring in. Keep them coming. We have such a great outlet that we have this green room. We have good reach. We have a huge reach. And again, it's an international reach, and it's a national reach, and it's a local reach. So, I mean, our hands are everywhere with this. So please spread word about donating again, and hopefully we'll see you all on Saturday. And Slava Ukraini.